Welcome back to Sports Extra with me, Ahmad Nawaz. We're now going to be discussing football, the Euros. We've been joined in the studios by none other than the great legendary sports expert, Mr. Ali Mehdi. Assalamu alaikum, Ali. How are you?
Good to be here.
Good to be here. Good for England to be in the finals. Your thoughts on that?
No, I think it's going to be a fabulous final. Look, these are the two heavyweights which we predicted would be in the final. I mean, England, played 6 of their 7 games at home. They are the favorites. They're never going to get a better opportunity. After 55 years, they're back.
They're back. Ali Mehdi, very interesting question now. Denmark, like you mentioned to me before the break, played very well in the first half and they were very deserving of that semi-final. You've got to give the Danes a lot of credit because the tragedy that they suffered in this tournament very early on with losing one of their key players would have hampered them a bit, but they came all this way. A lot of credit to them.
Look, the Danish have been brilliant. For them to get to the semi-finals itself was a huge achievement. After what they suffered in their first match, losing their inspirational captain, their talisman, Christian Eriksen, I didn't think they'd even be able to make it out of the group stage. For them to make it to the semi-finals and give England for their run of their money, I think they've been the true story of this tournament.
True story of this tournament. We've also been joined on Sports Extra tonight by a sports expert, and particularly he's going to be commenting on football as a football expert tonight, Mr. Ahmad bin Tahir. Ahmad, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Sports Extra.
Walaikum salam.
Right, Ahmad, your thoughts on the England versus Denmark game? I know a lot of controversies prevailing over that penalty in extra time, but nonetheless, a good game for football.
Yeah, it was an excellent game, and it was surprising to see Denmark perform so well. I think that they made great use of all of their strengths, and up until the point where Christensen got injured, Denmark were a really good side. They looked like they would win the game, to be really honest. Their physical presence was excellent. They were defending really well. They had practically phased out all of England's attacks, all of their tactics. When Christensen got injured, the match turned around, right? They were forced to sit back quite a lot. The reason behind that was that Christensen was the centre back who would occasionally shift into the central defensive midfielder role, and then he would play long balls into the attack. He's a really good player in terms of passing, right? As soon as he got off, their creative weaponry was off. Damsgaard was subbed off as well. So I think that even though Denmark performed really well, after that specific injury, England took over. They were the ones continuously attacking. They were the ones roaming the box, roaming all inside the box as well. And even though that was a very controversial penalty, I think that England was still much the better team. But I think that it was also kind of the game plan for Denmark to push the game to penalties to the very last minute, right? And I think that they were quite unlucky with that specific occasion, right? So I think that as an overall, the match was extremely competitive, but England were much the better team regardless.
Much the better team. Now, Ali Mehdi, if we talk about England now going into the final, they're going to be playing at Wembley, which is now a fortress for England, isn't it? And we understand the crowd support and the way they've come up against the Germans and the Danes now will give them a lot of confidence, because the way they played that second half and the extra time, it looked like a formidable football unit. But at the same time, I also want you to comment that you cannot ignore the brilliance of the Italians and Roberto Mancini, because he's had Italy unbeaten for more than 30 games.
Look, when it comes to England, they were the outright favourites. Going into this tournament, they've been absolutely brilliant. Gareth Southgate has actually transformed this team. They have an excellent win percentage. They've been doing very well. And then into this tournament, I mean, it's like it's on a plate for England. They've played 6 of their 7 games at home. They're now playing the final. The only game they played was in Rome against Ukraine, where they actually demolished their opposition. But other than that, you see, the best thing about England is that they are attacking from all fronts. Their attack is very good, midfield, their defense, and then also they've only conceded 1 goal in this tournament. The thing with England, why they are favourites, is obviously they are playing at home, but at the same time, Emma, the strength of their bench, they have so much squad depth over there that they can roll over any opposition. And for that reason, if Southgate plays his cards very right, they are outright favourites. They have got the counter-attacking ability, not very good with possession, but that speed and technical ability has actually been very good for them. And at the same time, they have Harry Kane, who has been their talisman. But at the same time, they're playing a very formidable team in the form of Italy. Look, the thing with Italy is that they have, like you mentioned, they haven't lost in like 2 to 3 years. 32 games, I believe, 32 to 33 unbeaten games. They've been brilliant. Mancini has actually transformed this team. Look, this team did not qualify for the 2018 World Cup. And after that, he's just completely changed this team. When it comes from man to man, they've got the technical ability. They haven't conceded many goals in this tournament. And they've, man for man, they're very good. But the thing with Italy is that, they're going to have to come, they're going to be play against 65,000 screaming English fans, and at the same time they're going to be, the presence itself, they shouldn't get overawed. They've got the technical ability. They've been very good in this tournament, and they've come against some strong opposition. Look, they've beaten the likes of Belgium, who were hot favorites. They've had stronger opposition. They've also beaten Spain. So I think they're, they're battle hardened. They are actually, the one good thing about them is that they know that, on the grand occasion, they can actually man for man match England.
Definitely. Ahmad bin Tahir, I want you to comment now, if we just don't analyze the teams themselves, but the strategies and the brains behind the operations, Roberto Mancini and Gareth Southgate. We know both of these managers really want this Euro. Southgate wants to redeem himself. Mancini just wants to prove his brilliance and dominance over European football. How do you analyze the contest between these two?
I think it's a very close contest, but I think that Italy might be the favourites here, irrespective of the fact that the match is in Wembley and there's going to be a lot of home support for England. I think that Italy, with regards to their experience, and Mancini will use this experience, their entire backline, especially Bonucci, Chiellini, they have been absolute units throughout the tournament and before that as well. So I think that tactically speaking, Italy will go with a very possessive style gameplay. They will make use of Barella, Jorginho, Verratti midfield, which is a very effective midfield. I think that's a much better midfield than what England have right now. Rice and Phillips have been decent, have been really good, but I don't think that they'll be able to match up to Verratti and Barella. Similarly, I think they will go with a high press strategy. Immobile is excellent in his pressing. Berardi is excellent in his pressing. Chiesa is excellent in his pressing. So I think they'll press England really, really high. And one of the reasons will be that England as a team are susceptible to making individual mistakes, right? Pickford made some mistakes against Spain. Maguire, not really Maguire, but Stones and Walker, both of them are capable of making mistakes during the tournament. They might misplace a pass, or they might play a heavy pass or something along those lines. I think Italy will look to exploit that. Denmark exploited that as well, but they're obviously not as clinical as Italy are. So I think that Italy will play a high line, they'll play possessive, and they'll play a very high energy game. And because of the experience that they have in their ranks, I think that they'll go all out, right? They won't be hindered by any confidence problems. Italy are a very confident team. England, on the other hand, will play a counter-attacking style because it suits them, right? I think that Sancho and Sterling are likely to start on the wings, and they both are extremely fast players. And even if Saka starts instead of Sancho, he's extremely fast. We saw an example of this counter-attack against Denmark as well, where Saka just went through the lines and he basically played the ball in for the own goal. So I think that they will play a counter-attacking gameplay, but as an overall, I think that due to the fact that Italy will control the midfield, they're less likely to misplace passes, and they press very, very high. And because of the backline experience, I think they're going to prevent this counter.
Ahmed, I'll just interrupt you there. Final word now. England, Italy. Who are you going with?
Italy.
Italy, right. Ali Mehdi?
I'm going for England because they're playing at home and it's coming home.
Well, it's going to be a good contest. Ahmad bin Tahir, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Extra. It's been great having you on the show.